information security leader and implementer, and certified ISO 27001 internal auditor. Tomorrow, I will happily be graduating from my Master in Computer Science from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts. I'm grateful to Day of Security for allowing me to share with you the ABCs of information risk management and cybersecurity culture. The best way to reduce security risk in an organization is to build a culture that protects critical information assets. The key words in this phrase are assets, protection, and culture. Cybersecurity uses technology controls to protect those assets. And cybersecurity risk management uses a strategic approach to prioritize threats. This approach helps identify, analyze, evaluate, and address threats based on their potential impact. So today we want to identify basic concepts of risk management and its implementation, and recognize the importance of cybersecurity culture from the ABCs: assets, business, culture. Specifically, cybersecurity culture. Let's take it back to the basics with some concepts. An asset is any data, device, or other component of the environment that supports information-related activities. Security, as in information security, is the protection of assets from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or destruction in order to provide confidentiality, integrity, and availability, the triad of security. Risk is a measure of extent to which an asset is threatened by a potential circumstance or event, and typically is a function of the adverse impact and the likelihood of occurrence. So risk can be redefined as this formula in which risk is equal to the likelihood of a threat event happening to an asset times the consequence. So we can graph this formula following like a traffic light code, in which red will be the worst case scenario, like a catastrophic consequence with a high likelihood of that catastrophic event happening. And then in the green area, we have like a lower consequence with a lower likelihood of happening. We can mitigate the likelihood of something bad happening to our assets. And according to ISO 31000, the risk management, and the ISO 73, the risk management vocabulary, we have several options of treating a risk. We want to avoid it. We want to take in or increasing the risk in order to pursue an opportunity. But like the four main ones are acceptance, avoidance, transferring, and reducing. So you can accept a risk that you say like, it's okay, I can live with this. I have a response plans when this happens, and the consequence will not be that bad, so I will let it be. And you can avoid it and say like, I do not want this in my life, nor in my organization, so I'm not gonna like do X, Y procedure, process, implementation that will put in risk my assets. I can transfer it using a third party. And then I will say like, you are the owner and responsible for the risk. So you, in case something happens, you should be the one solving it. Or we can reduce it, mitigate it with controls. We have a special publication for controls, is the 853. And then you can just choose the controls you want to implement according to the risks that you have established on your assets. So this will bring us to the risk management framework. The NIST Special Publication 837 set these steps, these frameworks, in which they kind of are based on supply chain information systems, but they're universal. They can be applied to operational risk management, to financial risk management, just because the steps are flexible. The first thing you have to do is to prepare, to have a strategy, a risk management strategy set, and then you go through the steps the first time in order: categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, and monitor. And then for the other iterations of your risk management strategy, you can just go to the step that you need to go according to the stage and the maturity of your system. In the first step of categorizing, you will have an inventory of your assets, of your systems, and you will identify the risk on them. Then you will select in the next step the controls that you will apply to protect those assets. Then in the next steps, you will implement those controls to later assess if that implementation actually did lower or not the risk. Then you will seek for authorization of everything you have done to share with the C-levels, the directors, all the projects that you have been establishing for your organization or business. And then because this is a continuous process, you will monitor. And according to your monitoring, you will go to the categorized maybe stage, or you will go directly to the implementation stage, or you will go to assessment stage according to where you are at the moment of evaluating or monitoring. Something that the framework doesn't include that I consider important to have in an organization or business is cybersecurity culture. Cybersecurity culture should be there from the beginning till the end. And this is a process, right? It doesn't have an end. It just is a recurring process that you have to monitor, evaluate, and go again. So cybersecurity culture should be there. Just because, or as organizational culture, people are the heart and the core of cybersecurity culture, and people are the first line of defense against threats. When who gets the phishing email and who clicks on it? People. Cybersecure people, cybersecure culture in an organization, and cybersecure conscious people will have behaviors and habits that are cyber secure and that will make your processes in your organization, in your business, more efficient. So ISACA did a report a couple years ago, and I like to bring this concept to you, in which they have established that effective cybersecurity culture have people that recognize their role in the information security ecosystem. They participate in regular infosecurity awareness programs, and they actively engage with cybersecurity behaviors and habits. It's important to have continual awareness and to have behaviors and habits embedded in the people and in the organization. To bring all these concepts home, I wanted to bring the study case of the SolarWinds hack that happened in December of 2020. SolarWinds Hack is a supply chain attack in which attackers targeted a third-party organization, which in this case was Orion, to be able to gain access to a huge network of organizations, 18,000 organizations on that network. The main reason behind targeting Orion is because it has been the major supplier for SolarWinds for the past couple of years, which therefore means it has connections with a huge number of well-known organizations. Orions give hackers the opportunity to get not only a big number of companies, 18,000 of them, but also very strong ones like the Department of States, the National Security Agency. They first discover, like the ones that first discovered this hack weren't even SolarWinds. They were FireEye, a third party. So the hackers were smart enough to like use different techniques to hide themselves and not be caught. But any user, and not but any user who installed the update of the Orion software that they sent gave the hackers a backdoor, a pathway for them to access bigger systems within the SolarWinds system. So what happened here? I was researching what happened with SolarWinds and trying to like bring home all this risk asset management framework and how to better implement risk assessments in organizations and businesses. And I realized that SolarWinds lacked a risk-based approach. The way they were doing everything about information security, you can have like the technical part, you can have the gadgets, the hardware. People can be kind of aware of everything, but they didn't have a cybersecurity culture embedded in the company. And they, like, I do not work for SolarWinds, so I cannot say like for sure they didn't have a risk management plan or something. But when you study the case of what happened, of the steps of everything, it seems like they didn't have like a clear assessment, a clear monitoring, a clear implementations of certain controls that were that you identify once you identify the risk. It's not just like let's implement controls or security controls. It's just what are the risks? Are we aware of them? If we are aware of them, what are our mitigation paths for that? Can we reduce this? Can we mitigate this? Can we accept this? Do we have a response plan? Do we have an incident response plan? And they didn't have that. If not, they wouldn't get breached, right? And they didn't even notice by themselves that they did get breached. So some recommendations that can have been noticed if they approach their security from their risk management approach would be to use network alerting software or use monitoring software that that tracks vulnerabilities if they're patched or if they're not patched, and reduce the number of access points to sensitive data, evaluate constantly evaluate the vulnerabilities, what is happening, the risk, which state each one is at. Some lesson learned from the SolarWinds attack, because this highlighted that we need, as organizations and businesses grow around cybersecurity and information security, and cybersecurity culture is getting more into the business, and to make it more effective, then we need to move toward a risk-based, intelligence-driven approach to cybersecurity. Be more able to predict instead of just detect. Be more resilient. So it's like, yes, I can get attacked, but how do I respond to that? Can I come back to my previous state? Can I function good after an attack? So a risk-tracked response approach can help better understand and plan for the risk scenarios that matter most in each specific situation. So there is a business need for risk management strategy that documents the assets, the systems, the risks, that analyze them, understand, and implements the controls and continue monitors how everything is going, and then after the monitor and the evaluation, take the step that you need to take to continue improve. is really, really important. And my main recommendation that my main takeaway from this will be like implement a cybersecurity culture in your organization and business. GRC, which is government risk and compliance, will be more easy to be compliant if the people within the organization have cybersecure behaviors and habits, because then this will not be like an obligation. It will be something natural for them to do, from the technical part to the administrative part of the business. Thank you very much again to Day of Security for allowing me to share some of my ideas on, also my experience on risk management and cybersecurity culture. I'm Shary Llanos Antonio. I will be master in computer science tomorrow. I'm an information security leader and researcher. These are my emails, my school email, and my nonprofit in which we research on science, technology, and innovation, and I lead everything information security there. You can reach me out with any questions, and here are some resources in which I base this talk today. Thank you very much, and have a good day.